The shocking truth about fear 3.9 million years ago, what haunts us today. The night was heavy with a silence that felt thick enough to slice through. It was as if the world was holding its breath, waiting for something terrible to break the calm. In the shadows of an ancient forest that had stood for eons, the whispers of past horrors danced among the trees. No one could have imagined the nightmares lying just beneath the surface, frozen in time, 3.9 million years ago. This was the time when creatures roamed the earth, not just for survival but for dominance over fearsome predators that hunted them with blades of bone and claws sharp as daggers. The moonlight crept through the leaves, revealing a scene that echoed a haunting past. Scratches on ancient trees spoke of desperate escapes, while scattered bones hinted at the unspeakable terror that had once unfolded here. It wasn't just the chilling air that raised the hairs on the back of one's neck. Strange shadows flickered just out of sight, a reminder that maybe, just maybe, the ghosts of those animals remained, their instincts to terrorize still echoing through the night. As the wind howled a mournful tune, it summoned the images of massive beasts that had long vanished but seemed ever present. Eyes that glowed with ferocity, lungs that could expel roars shattering stillness. These monsters existed, thriving on the primal fears that now lurked in our own hearts. But what if fear wasn't a product of our imagination? What if it was a legacy, passed down as blood coursed through time's veins from those terrified ancestors of ours? Echo after echo and something unexplainable haunted the air, voices from the past calling out in agony, urging anyone who dared tread here to flee. Sometimes, the wind would carry an unbearable sensation, a heavy weight pressing against the chest. Fear turned tangible, like a vice squeezing tighter with every step deeper into the woods. You could almost feel the eyes of the unseen, watching, assessing, waiting, and the lump in your throat began to grow. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. But then came a sudden shift, a rustle in the underbrush, a crack that shattered the eerie silence. Something was moving. Was it one of those ancient spirits, or just a trick of the imagination? The heart raced, pounding in the ears like a frantic drum. Was it wise to stay? With a single thought, a chilling realization settled in. Perhaps the greatest fear was not of what had existed, but of what could still be lurking in the depths, waiting for someone to cross its path. What haunted those woods back then? What still penned a dark story, one that reached out like a claw from the past to grasp at the present? The foliage rustled again, louder this time, like a predator stalking its prey. A chill raced down the spine, a primal instinct screaming to flee. Every muscle tensed, ready to react at the slightest hint of danger. Yet, curiosity held her captive, feet rooted to the ground. It was that same urge and insatiable fascination with the unknown that had brought her here. The darkness was thick, a smothering blanket obscuring whatever awaited just beyond sight. Breathing became shallow, each inhale a struggle against the rising fear that clawed at her throat. The weight of ancient secrets hung in the air, she could sense it, a living thing. And then she caught a glimpse, a flicker of movement, too fast to fully comprehend. Her heart raced like a wild animal trapped in a cage. "Hello." Her voice trembled, barely piercing the heavy silence. There was no reply, only another rustle. A part of her screamed to turn back, yet she pressed on. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, blending with the ominous earth and trees. With every step, the darkness threatened to swallow her whole. Suddenly, a whisper brushed against her ear, sending shivers down her spine. "Leave," it breathed, almost issuing a warning. But who, or what, spoke? Was it the wind, or perhaps one of the lost souls from the forest's past? Her pulse quickened, but the terror morphed into an electrifying thrill. She felt alive in a way society rarely allowed. Here, she was stripped of pretense, confronted with raw, unfiltered fear. At that moment, the ground beneath her shifted. A low growl rumbled through the trees, reverberating deep within her chest. Panic surged, flooding her limbs with adrenaline. What was hiding in these woods, waiting for the dark to reclaim it? Were there remnants of those ancient beasts lurking just beyond her line of sight? She turned slowly, scanning the darkened edges. A flash of white bone caught her eye, a skull, weathered and half buried in a patch of earth. She dropped to her knees, heart racing, horrified by the dark tableau unfolding before her. But as she brushed the dirt away, the earth trembled beneath her touch. The chilling realization hit her: this was not an ancient relic. The ground quaked, as if something beneath was awakening. "Run!" a voice screamed inside her head, sharp and urgent. She stumbled backward, suddenly grasping the gravity of her surroundings. What was once a curious exploration had morphed into a desperate fight for survival. But before she could take a step, the growl returned, louder this time. It echoed like a death knell. The whispering wind bore warnings, now slow, deliberate. It wasn't just an echo from the past. The darkness had teeth, and they were sharp. As fear clawed up her spine, she caught the faintest hint of movement behind a tree. Was it just a shadow? Or the very spirit of the forest, rising to claim her? The air thickened, like the anticipation before a storm. She could hardly breathe, her mind racing with possibilities as she processed the lurking dread. And then, in the heart of that suffocating darkness, a pair of glowing eyes met hers. They were wild and fierce, carrying the weight of eons, ancient and yet freshly alive. In that brief exchange, a connection formed, a bond forged in the fires of terror. But just as quickly, the eyes disappeared, leaving her scrambling to comprehend what she had seen. What had awakened in the woods that night? And was she truly prepared for what came next? The ground shook again, a violent tremor that sent her sprawling on her back. Breathless, she stared up at the towering trees that loomed like giants above her, their branches swaying as if they were alive, dancing to a dark rhythm only they could hear. A heartbeat, a pulse, something monstrous stirred beneath the earth. Panic clawed at her chest. She pushed herself up, scrambling to her feet, her mind racing through a torrent of thoughts. What was happening? What had she unleashed by disturbing this ancient resting place? The forest whispered in a language she couldn't decipher, yet it felt familiar, like an echo of long-buried fears. She turned, eyes wide, scanning the shadows, the darkness alive with unseen threats. If she felt the vibrant energy of connection now, it was rapidly turning into dread. This wasn't a game or a mere encounter, she was deep in something primal, something that could tear her apart. The growl returned, now accompanied by a rustling that made the leaves chatter in agitation. It felt personal. It was stalking her. The realization bashed into her gut like a heavy fist. Panic ignited her legs, she dashed into the trees, branches clawing at her clothes, leaves brushing against her skin like fingertips searching for a way to retake what belonged to them. Her heart thundered in her ears, drowning out all logical thought. She stumbled over roots, her footing uneven as she weaved through the maze of darkness. Each frantic comparison to the elements of horror movies she'd seen flooded her mind, but none offered comfort. What if this was fiction? A glimmer caught her eye, a reflection low to the ground that flickered like a sinister spark. She halted, squinting. Was it the moonlight playing tricks, or something more? When she crept closer, a familiar dread washed over her. Bones littered the area, faint glimmers like ghosts in the night. Then she heard it, a heavy breathing around her, slow and deliberate. It was no more than a soft rustle, but the volume cracked through the air like a whip. Dead animals, remnants of life once vibrant among these roots, surely belonged to whatever horror now stalked her. She thought about turning back, but dread took a firmer grip, its icy fingers squeezing her throat. Suddenly, the eyes appeared again, sharp and piercing, cutting through the darkness like lasers. They watched her from the other side of the clearing, and she felt the weight of their gaze merge with the trees surrounding them, trapping her in an invisible web. For a moment, a stillness enveloped her, a challenge to step forward or to flee. The trees creaked softly, as if waiting for a decision. She realized she was caught between wonder and terror, a dance of survival. As she took a reluctant step back, the creature let out a guttural snarl that shattered the air, a sound of hunger, of untamed ferocity. The voices roared in her mind now, urging her to run, to save herself, to break free from this ancient cycle. But there was that other whisper, a call echoing from the shadows, pulling at her soul. As she turned to run, uncertainty flooded through her. What lay ahead in the darkness? Would she uncover the truth of this place, its legends, its pain? Or would she become just another story to share among the trees? She stumbled onward, heart racing, every step echoing with the forest's heartbeat, a chaotic rhythm of fear and excitement, intertwining as she plunged deeper into the wild unknown. The shadows closed in, pushing her toward a new revelation, one she couldn't yet fathom, and then, in the thickest part of the gloom, a figure loomed, a silhouette, unmistakably human yet eerily still, as if waiting for her next move. What did this figure want? And would it be her salvation, or the ultimate trap? The figure in the shadows shifted, caught by the moonlight just enough for her to make out its features. It wasn't just a human, it was a woman, her face pale and drawn, with eyes that reflected the same haunted desperation that churned in Claire's chest. There was no warmth in those eyes, just cold recognition, as though they had shared this fear for ages. "Help me," the woman whispered, her voice barely more than a breath through cracked lips. The sincerity in her plea rooted Claire to the spot. "What happened?" Claire croaked, trying to keep her voice steady amidst the chaos swirling around them. The woman hesitated, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting something to leap from the shadows. "There's no time. It's coming, you have to listen. The forest, it's alive." The desperation in her tone set every nerve in Claire alight, and her heart raced faster. "They'll find you if you don't understand what lives beneath the ground. You woke it." Claire's mind spun. Woke it? That growl, that feeling of being hunted, it all began the moment she disrupted the earth. But how? "What do you mean?" A sudden crack of a branch made them both flinch. The woman's gaze darted past Claire, panic flooding her features. "It feels you. You can't stay here. Follow me." With no time to think, Claire swallowed her doubt and darted forward. The two women plunged into the thick brush, each step a frenzied leap into the unknown. As they raced deeper into the forest, the ground beneath her seemed to tremble with rage, as if the roots themselves were writhing in protest. "What is it?" Claire gasped, feeling the weight of dread settle more heavily on her shoulders. "What does it want?" "The forest keeper," the woman panted, eyes wide. "It was meant to guard us, to guard the past. But something changed. There are roots of greed, hunger, dark wishes buried deep in you." She pointed an accusatory finger back at Claire. "You awoke its fury. It's drawn to your fear." A chill slithered down Claire's spine. Fear. She was suffocated by it. The shadows danced around her, closing in, filling her lungs. They veered sharply left, the darkness thicker, as if the trees conspired to trap them within. The hushed whispers of the woodland grew louder, echoing the woman's words. Just as abruptly, the woman stopped, grabbing Claire's arm with a force that momentarily relieved her from the clutches of terror. "We need to hide." She pushed Claire behind a massive tree, its bark rough against her back, her breath loud and ragged. They held their breaths, waiting, the tension hanging heavy in the air. Minutes stretched, the forest alive with strange noises. Claire felt the dread creeping back, invasive and potent. "What if it finds us?" she whispered. "It will," the woman replied, shame cycling through her voice. "But we can fight by digging deeper into the stories hidden here. You must understand the keeper. It's not just a monster, it's all that has lived, breathed, and died within these woods." Before Claire could respond, the ground trembled once again, this time more violently. The trees groaned, branches snapping like bones. An otherworldly roar filled the night, shaking the air around them. "It's here," the woman whimpered, eyes becoming pools of unfathomable fear. "Run!" Suddenly, In the chaos, Claire noticed the flashing of eyes all around the more than one creature lurking, waiting, watching. Terror surged like wildfire. She took off, heart thundering. Hurtling over roots and under branches, she pushed herself harder, desperate. But the snap of twigs behind them echoed like a drum, getting closer, more furious. The echoes of their flight filled her with a sense of urgency. Was she running toward salvation, or further into a trap? With each heartbeat, she realized this secret had deep roots, and she'd barely scratched the surface. And then she dared to glance back, but it was too late. The shocking truth was only just beginning to unfold. Claire surged through the underbrush, breath hot and labored. Panic clawed at her throat, drowning out thoughts, leaving nothing more than the primal instinct to survive. The woman beside her, what was her name? Remained a blur, an ethereal being caught in the moonlight and shadows. What does it want from me? Claire panted as they stumbled through a thicket, twigs clawing at her skin, marking her like a sacrificial offering. The woman shot a glance over her shoulder, dread coloring her face. It wants retribution. For the lives lost in these woods, your presence stirs the hatred buried within. Each word felt like a knife, sharp and penetrating. Claire's heart raced, fear mingling with confusion. I didn't mean to disturb anything. I just wanted, you must understand, Claire. The woman interrupted, urgency pouring from her. Every time you tread on the soil, it remembers. It catalogues your fear. Each heartbreaking moment, each loss, the pain they feed the keeper. And now that you're here, everything amplifies, every echo, every scream. The growl from behind them was deafening now, a low rumble that vibrated through the ground. They pressed on, the branches parting like sentinels, the forest an endless void of despair, as if it, too, was alive with malice. Why me? Claire shouted over the din, desperation seeping into her words. I'm nobody. The woman hesitated, then replied with a strange calmness. Nobody does not exist in the eyes of the forest. You awakened its wrath with your presence, your spirit. You are a thread in this tapestry woven with those who came before you. Claire stumbled momentarily, losing her footing. The weight of those words crashed into her, like thunder rolling ominously over the horizon. Voices slid through the trees, echoing with sorrow and longing. They whispered stories of lost souls, warning her not to betray the kinship of silence. Suddenly, the undergrowth erupted with movement. Shadows poured from the trees, grotesque forms writhing in the half-light. Their eyes glinted with a hunger that was more than dismantling flesh, it was a craving to reclaim what was once theirs. Run! The woman screamed, gripping Claire's hand, yanking her away from the nightmare behind. They dashed deeper into the thicket, the ground pulsating like a heartbeat, matching the frantic beat of Claire's own. The forest had turned from a peaceful retreat to a labyrinth of horror. Twisted branches clawed at her, wildflowers hummed ominously, and beneath it all, a sinister whisper echoed, rooting itself in her mind, you woke us, and now you must pay. Through the chaos, Claire's thoughts spiraled into anger, resentment creeping in among the fear. I shouldn't have to pay for something I didn't even know about. She shouted, defiance bubbling up within her, but as they burst into a clearing, a sickening sight greeted them, a gnarled altar woven with vines and bone, the remnants of those who had come before, their faces twisted in agony. We must finish this, the woman gasped, eyes wide with horror. It contains the heart of the forest. Only through it can we tame the keeper. Claire's breath hitched. She felt the energy of the forest shifting, pulsing around her, a living heartbeat wrapped in sorrow and fury. She was at the center of it all, the harbinger of fate, staring down at the altar, an icy chill spread through her veins. Could she really confront this ancient force? Must she become part of a darker story? Before she could answer herself, the ground rumbled violently. The shadows lunged. No! The woman cried, pulling Claire close. You must stand your ground. This is your chance to rewrite the tale. Could she do it? Could she face what awaited her, embrace the horrifying truth of her existence intertwined with the forest? With a surge of determination, Claire took a step forward, the weight of countless lost souls pressing against her. This was not just about survival anymore, it was about reclaiming a lost legacy. But before she could act, a blinding light erupted from within the altar, consuming her vision, and then, darkness what awaited her in that darkness? A chance to confront the keeper and perhaps reclaim what had been lost, or a deeper fear she could never escape. Claire blinked, the darkness swirling around her like a thick fog. An unsettling silence hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Gone was the understanding of time and space. She couldn't tell where she ended and the void began, her heart beat a distant echo in this strange expanse. Suddenly, a voice cut through the murk. It was not the woman's voice, nor the growls of the shadows. It was deeper, ancient, throbbing with a weight that resembled sorrow and anger entwined. "Welcome, Claire," it resonated, sounding from all around. The word vibrated through her, not just in her ears but in her very bones. "What? Where am I?" Claire stammered, her voice sounding foreign, as if it belonged to someone else. The oppressive darkness thickened, swirling ominously. "You tread upon sacred ground, a realm intertwined with the keeper's fate," the voice boomed, its cadence calm yet laced with an undercurrent of dread. "You possess the key, the thread that can either weave a new tapestry or fray all that binds the past." Clenching her fists, Claire tried to gather her courage, forcing herself to take a deep breath. "I didn't choose this. I can't be responsible for the past." Panic saturated her tone, but beneath it lurked fierce defiance. The voice chuckled, a sound that resonated like dry leaves scraping against stone. "Responsibility is not a choice, it is a consequence. Here, in the shadows of the forest, lies the truth of what you've awoken." And just like that, images flashed before her mind, a cascade of fragmented visions. People in anguish, their faces marked by despair, the trees weeping thick sap that vibrated with forgotten wails. Bodies entangled in vines, grasping at freedom that would never come. The burden of their suffering pressed onto Claire, heavy and unyielding. "No," she gasped, staggering back. "This can't be all there is. Can you bear the truth?" The voice pulsed with the energy of the forest itself, swirling sensations pouring into her like rain feeding parched earth. "Each life lost has fed the keeper's rage, the darkness that seeks to reclaim what you have disturbed. But you also carry their hope, their unyielding chains of dreams." Just then, a searing pain shot through her chest, wrapping around her heart like a vice. It felt as if all the sorrow from those lost souls surged into her, a torrent of emotions that made her want to scream, to cry out, to run. Her knees buckled, and she fell, gasping for air. "You can end the cycle," the voice pressed, relentless and hypnotic. "But first, you must face yourself. Each fear, each regret, every ounce of hatred you harbor must be laid bare. Only then can you truly see what binds you to the keeper." "No!" Claire shouted, fighting against the swell of emotions that threatened to drown her. "I won't be defined by their pain. I won't." The darkness rippled as if in response to her words, swirling around in a tempest that slashed at her like ice. "Refusal has its price, child. The keeper grows impatient, and with each heartbeat, shadows gather strength." With a desperate resolve, Claire pushed herself up, gritting her teeth. She would not be a pawn. She would confront this reality, this horror that danced in her peripheral vision. "I will face it," she whispered, the echo of her voice swallowed by the encompassing void. "I will fight for them, fight for me." As if acknowledging her resolve, the darkness began to shift, a portal forming ahead, a doorway lined with shimmering light. It beckoned with promises and fears coiled densely around its edges. Claire took a step forward, heart pounding. What lay beyond it? Was it the keeper, the truth of her existence, or a part of her she kept hidden? Regardless, she only had one choice left. With a deep breath, she crossed the threshold, and in that moment, she realized the forest wasn't the only thing that had been awakened. What awaited her on the other side? Would she find the strength to rewrite her destiny, or would she succumb to the shadows once more? The light enveloped her like warm silk, but it vibrated with an unsettling energy. Claire blinked, her surroundings shifting from the suffocating darkness to a riot of color. The transition was dizzying, and she staggered back, gripping her head as unfamiliar sounds flooded her senses. "Welcome, Claire." The voice was now softer, almost nurturing, yet it still held a tremor of authority. She turned, heart racing, to find a figure clad in robes as green as the deepest forest, eyes glowing with an ethereal light. "You stand at the edge of your reckoning." "What do you mean?" Claire gasped, the weight of her previous moment juxtaposed with this vibrant world. "Is this a trick?" The being stepped closer, the light coiling around them like wisps of mist. "There is no trick, only revelation. The keeper awaits, and so do the truths you buried deep." As if to emphasize the weight of their words, the ground trembled beneath her feet, vibrating with energy that felt both thrilling and terrifying. Claire took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "I can't face what I've hidden away." "Yet you must," the figure insisted, a hint of sorrow creeping into their voice. "Every soul you encountered in the forest has a claim on your spirit. The keeper has fed upon your denial, growing stronger with every moment you refuse to confront your truth." A surge of memories crashed over her. Broken dreams, lost friends, painful choices she had locked away like a stubborn child hiding from the truth. Each one felt like a dagger in her heart, twisting and pushing her deeper into despair. "Why me?" Claire whispered, a knot forming in her throat. "I didn't ask for this." "You are the key, Claire," the figure replied, their voice unwavering. "And keys are often forged through fire. Each piece of your past struggles to enlighten your path. This is not about blame, it's about healing." "But how do I heal from something that haunts me?" she countered, bitterness slipping into her words. The figure extended a hand, gentle yet firm. "By embracing it." Suddenly, shadows fluttered in the corner of her vision, dancing malevolently as the voice of the keeper echoed through the air, growing louder, a dark symphony. "Time is fleeting, Claire. The darkness is unyielding. Every choice has led to this moment." Panic surged as memories flooded her, vivid and urgent, each regret, each fear unraveled, grasping at her consciousness like vines. She could feel their whispers chilling her spine, overwhelming in their insistence. "No, I can't do this. Leave me alone." But in the depths of her turmoil, a flicker of resolve sparked. Claire stepped toward the figural presence before her, the warmth of their light soothing her doubts. "I choose to confront them," she declared, voice resonating with newfound strength. "I want to move forward." The air crackled with anticipation. "Then step beyond the light and let them speak," the figure instructed, the shadows receding momentarily. "You must face the keeper, and only then can you claim your destiny." With resolve coiling inside her, Claire took a step into the brilliant brightness, feeling the shadows clinging to her like a second skin. As she crossed the threshold, a whirlwind of voices echoed around her, screams, cries, laughter, and whispers, each calling for her attention. They beckoned with urgency, intending to pull her back into despair. "Did I end this torrent of emotions?" One voice arose, stronger than the rest, a familiar, haunting melody that made her heart ache with recognition. "Claire! Don't you see? You can't escape us forever." She froze, dread pooling cold in her gut. The recognition stung deeper than a physical wound. Who are you?" But there was no answer, just the shadows shifting and growing impatient, swirling around her like a tempest. And as the keeper's voice roared through the chaos, Claire knew she was no longer just a participant. She had become a player in a game far more harrowing than she ever anticipated. What would she uncover as she faced her past? Would she emerge triumphant, or would the darkness engulf her whole? The moment Claire stepped fully into the light, everything shattered. Colors collided, like glass breaking into a million shards, piercing her senses. She was no longer just Claire, she was a collection of moments, splintered reflections flickering before her eyes. The voices swelled, now a cacophony. They weren't just memories, they were echoes of her past, vibrant and relentless. Each one fought for dominance, clawing at her heart, and she staggered back, overwhelmed. "Face it!" shouted the being beside her, their hands still outstretched. "This is the path to your freedom." But as she stood in that kaleidoscope of despair, Claire felt the weight of her denial pressing down, thick and suffocating. It was so easy to fall back into the shadows, to ignore the faces that haunted her dreams. "Let me out. I can't do this." "Your fears will only grow stronger if you run," the green-robed figure urged. "You must confront them head-on." Then, the shadows congealed into a single, intimidating form. The keeper emerged, a presence both imposing and magnetic. The keeper's eyes blazed with an infernal light, pulling her in like a black hole. "Why prolong the inevitable, Claire?" it sneered, its voice dripping with dark amusement. "I know you. I know all your secret fears. You think you can hide?" Claire swallowed hard, her mouth dry. "I am not afraid of you." The words felt hollow, a desperate attempt at bravado. "Oh, but you are." The keeper stepped closer, the air thickening around them. Suddenly, she was 12 again, standing before the shattered remnants of her family fighting, yelling, hurtful words spewed like daggers. "Why can't you remember them without pain? You are afraid of the truth that they left you with, a truth that claims you, even now." "Stop!" Claire shouted, clenching her fists. Images of her mother's disappointment, her father's reckless anger, bombarded her mind, rippling into the present. "I didn't ask for this life." "Ah, but life does not ask," the keeper replied with a smirk. "It simply gives. Will you accept these prices, or will you let them continue to imprison you?" Claire felt the ground beneath her tremble, and the air grew electric, buzzing like a live wire. "What do you want from me?" "Only what you owe." Then, dozens of faces swarmed around her, betrayals piled on heartbreaks, one face standing out above the rest. A high school friend, Nicole, with her bright eyes and radiant smile. "You abandoned us," Nicole's voice cut through the noise, sharp and unyielding. "You left when you should have fought." "No, I tried." Claire's voice trembled, a wave of guilt washing over her. "I didn't know how to help you," Nicole continued, a shadow of accusation crossing her features. "You always ran." The keeper laughed, a haunting sound that sent a shiver down Claire's spine. "Can you bear witness to their pain, Claire? Can you allow it to shape you rather than break you?" Breath quickening, Claire clenched her jaw. "Then I will stand witness." The voices quieted as silence enveloped her. Claire felt the weight of truth crowding in, and for the first time, she didn't want to flee. A flicker of resilience sparked within her. "I want to let you have control over me. I choose to remember." In that moment of realization, the shadows swirled unexpectedly, drawing back, revealing a new path lit with a soft, warm shimmer. But the keeper laughed, a chilling echo that rattled her bones. "You think you've won? The true challenge lies ahead. What will you face when you meet your greatest fear?" A surge of dread knotted in her stomach. This was far from over. As she stood at the threshold of a new reality, the world began to pulse around her, the vibrant colors swirling into something darker yet hauntingly familiar. Claire took a deep breath, her heart racing with every beat. What's next? And just as she opened her mouth to take the first step on that path ahead, the ground beneath her split open, revealing an abyss that seemed to sing her name. What awaited her there? Claire's pulse quickened with anticipation as the darkness beckoned. The darkness swallowed Claire whole, an insatiable void that tugged at her hopes and fears, demanding to be explored. As she plunged deeper, she could feel the temperature drop, frigid air nipped at her skin, sending shivers down her spine. The abyss was alive, a pulsing entity filled with whispers that enveloped her like a suffocating blanket. She landed on solid ground, but the world around her felt oddly distorted. Shadows flickered and danced across jagged rocks, illuminating fleeting memories that clawed their way out of the darkness. A chorus of voices filled the air, whispering secrets she had buried long ago. "Claire! The familiar voice sliced through the chaos, crystallizing time and space. It was her mother, vibrant and young, standing in the center of the flickering shadows. But as Claire stepped forward, the image warped, her mother's face twisting in anguish. "Mom." Claire breathed, heart racing. "What are you doing here?" Her mother's expression hardened, the light in her eyes dimming with disappointment. "You fled when it mattered most. Why won't you just face what you've hidden?" Each word reverberated, striking Claire like a physical blow. "I didn't have a choice. I was just a kid." The keeper's laughter echoed from the darkness. "Ah, the old excuses. A child's cowardice, a tapestry of denial woven into adulthood." "No!" Claire screamed, anger fueling her courage. "I'm not afraid anymore. I choose to confront this." The very ground shivered beneath her, shifting like quicksand, but Claire refused to backtrack. Clenching her fists, she focused on the image of her mother and tried to wade through the suffocating atmosphere. "Do you really think you can handle the truth?" The keeper taunted, its presence looming ever closer. Claire felt its breath like ice on her neck. "What if your greatest fear is yourself?" And then, the ground opened up again, revealing a mirror-like surface that reflected Claire's flaws and insecurities. Her reflection morphed, showcasing shameful moments when she bailed on her friends, when she let fear dictate her actions. "Face it, Claire. This is who you truly are." The keeper hissed, taking a deep breath. Claire stepped forward, the mirror rippling like water. She braced herself, ready to delve into the darkness that had held her captive for so long. "I will not be defined by my mistakes," she yelled, the confrontation igniting a fire within her. The shadows screeched, recoiling as she approached the reflective surface. Just then, snippets of her memories began flooding back, reminding her of hope, the moments that pushed her toward light rather than darkness. The laughter of her friends, the warmth of their support. Could she summon that strength? "You think their support will shield you from the truth?" The keeper sneered, but Claire could see it was faltering. "Like hell it won't," she retorted, slamming her palm against the mirror. A shudder raced through the abyss, resonating with her refusal to back down. The mirror shattered suddenly, sending shards flying, each fragment revealing a different part of Claire, the fierce warrior, the loving friend, the hopeful dreamer. As the shadows glimmered in the darkness, Claire felt the keeper's grip loosen, uncertainty seeping through its facade. What have you done?" It stuttered, a crack of fear trembling in its voice. "I've reclaimed my truth," Claire whispered, feeling a surge of power building in her chest. But just as victory began to seem possible, the shadows converged and reformed into something more terrifying, glaring eyes filled with malice and mockery that bore into her soul. "You've awakened more than you realize, Claire," it warned. "The darkness will retaliate. What will you do when it comes to reclaim what you thought you had conquered?" The tension surged through Claire's veins, and she felt her resolve wavering for the first time. The intensity of the keeper's presence seemed to amplify, reverberating threats that clawed at the edges of her courage. What awaited her in the depths of this chaos? The questions lingered in her mind like a noose, tightening around her throat. Claire's heart raced with uncertainty. Had she truly begun to conquer her fears, or had she merely awakened something far worse? In that heartbeat of hesitation, the shadows swirled ominously, inviting her deeper into their depths. A new battle was about to unfold. Claire stood at the edge of uncertainty, the flickering remnants of the shattered mirror dancing like fireflies around her. The shadows pulsed with an ominous energy, coiling tight, waiting for her next move. She could feel the weight of countless eyes on her, each one a fragment of memories begging for recognition. This was more than a confrontation, it was a reckoning. "Embrace it." The voice of the green-robed figure called through the chaos, echoing just beyond the veil of darkness. Only through acceptance can you strip away its power. With every fiber of her being, Claire wanted to flee, to deny the truth wrapped in pain. But deep inside, the flicker of defiance ignited a spark pushing her to fight. "All right, let us do this," she shouted, conviction weaving through her words. I own my fears, and I refuse to be defined by them. The keeper recoiled, a ripple of unease passing through its shadowy form. You think you can conquer me just by acknowledging your fears? You will only ignite the wrath buried deeper. But Claire felt the energy shift, as if the abyss itself resided in a state of anticipation. The bonds of her past began to unfurl. Emotions crashed around her like waves, washing away the fear that had once paralyzed her. Faces appeared, loved ones she had feared abandoning, moments frozen in time. Exclamations of hurt echoed in her mind, but beneath each lament, she felt the stirrings of hope. You cannot own what you do not face, the keeper's voice drew closer, a slithering hiss echoing. I will consume you, Claire. Not this time. Claire roared as she lunged forward, solidifying her ground. Her heart thudded loud like a war drum, reminding her of every moment she had pushed through pain. Shadows swirled around her memories, both bitter and sweet. Claire dug into the warmth of those memories, channeling that energy into a visceral scream. I am stronger than this. The darkness shuddered, flickering around her. Recognition broke through her thoughts. You are my past, but you do not control my future. She lifted her hands, beckoning the light to pierce through the shadows and reclaim what was lost. As if responding to her declaration, the remnants of light from her shattered realities merged into a radiant force. It surged through her, illuminating the cavernous darkness with dazzling brilliance, scattering the shadows like ash in the wind. Claire could feel the keeper's apprehension unraveling beneath her resolve. No. You cannot defeat me. It shrieked, its voice morphing into a harrowing roar. The very earth began to shake as Claire pushed against the weight of the keeper's retribution. I am done running. She shouted, voice ringing clear as the light enveloped her, overcoming the remnants of despair. I choose to face who I am. I choose to embrace every moment, good and bad. With that declaration, the shadows twisted violently before exploding outward, giving way to a shimmering light. In a blinding flash, the keeper's form fractured like thin ice underfoot, revealing the essence of everything that had lived within its dark depths: pain, regret, but also hope. As the keeper dissipated, a hush settled over the abyss, and Claire found herself standing largely alone in an empty space of endless possibility. A smooth, warm light hovered around her, the brightness transforming the once chaotic environment into a serene realm filled with gentle wisps of healing energy. You have done well, Claire. The green-robed figure appeared before her once more, eyes radiating warmth. You have faced what many fear to confront. You've awakened the spirit of the forest and turned the tides of fate. The keeper is no longer your foe, but an echo of the past capable of sharing lessons, not darkness. Claire felt the weight lift from her shoulders, a gentleness spreading through her chest. What happens now? She asked, breathing freely, no longer cowering beneath the shadows. Now, it's time to rebuild. The forest needs your stories, your strength. You will carry the light in your heart and release the darkness through connection, just as it was always meant to be. As the figure began to fade, Claire nodded, conviction overflowing. The way ahead was broad, promising new adventures and the chance to bring forth the wisdom she had unearthed. Taking her first steps back toward the edge of the clearing, Claire felt lighter. Each breath filled with the sweet air of certainty, bringing with it a resolution to redefine life's path. The hidden layers of fear had birthed an openness to change, a fresh perspective on her journey. The forest whispered encouragement, 1,000 nourished souls twirling in the branches, uniting in an eternal dance. And then she heard it, the sweet sound of laughter, vibrant and real. Claire smiled, knowing she was not just carrying her story but intertwining with all the lives that had crossed her path. Stepping forward from the shadows, she stepped into the light and the future, ready to write a legacy worth leaving behind. This is how stories heal, how darkness can lead to renewal, how fear can ultimately become courage. As Claire walked away, a soft breeze swept through the forest, a gentle reminder that every shadow tells a story and every story has the power to transcend. Now, before you go, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Remember, you have the power to support us. Just smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. And I want to hear from you, so flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Your participation makes all the difference in our journey together. Let us keep this community strong.